got these nice. It's actually a nice day out today. So last two have been great. So today is pretty straightforward. Make sure we're green. Okay, pretty straightforward here. I've got this section of my garden is my northern section. Kind of see where, basically where that gate is all the way up over to here to where my greenhouse is. Where I do my the north side of my garden. So it gets my sunflowers and then my corn. So we're starting today. We're getting my two different types of sunflowers in. I've got gray, see here, gray stripe, mammoth, and these are all harvested from um, last year's gray stripe. Oh, and then I've got, you see these here. I got we've got a few. Let's see here. Somehow I got some peas in there too. That's too funny. All right, gotta see. Kind of had everybody going together. That's good. I got those peas in there as well. And then I've got these are just got these out. These are sunburst sunflower seeds. And so the mammoth, they end up being about 14 to 15 feet tall. They're pretty decent size. The sunbursts are a different type of sunflower. They don't have a single flower. Oh yeah, and I got plenty of them in here too. Cool. Love seeing that. Love that for us. But the gray stripes are, it's a single head. It's mammoth, so they got one large. The second set of rows that I do, that one it has multiple heads. It ends with like 14 to 15 heads, and it tops out at maybe 12 to 13 feet, but it spreads out nice and wide. They're really great. They're really pretty. I really like it just because it brings the birds into the garden. I have goldfinches that basically move into this entire section of the garden during basically whenever the sunflowers are in bloom. So it's great. Basically for about a month and a half or so. And like I said, these are, gray stripe mammoth. I started these just from a packet a couple years ago, and now I just reharvest these as they go. And I only need a few. This is way too many, and the rest will just go to the birds. And then I actually save all the heads from us. I actually have I saved them as well. So this is one of the sunflower stalks that I had from last year. As you can see, not trying to be all like ninja-ish here, but you can just see this. Actually, what I do is I save these, cut these down, and then dry them, cure them in my greenhouse, and I use them like bamboo. If you can hear, nice and solid, and they hold up really well over the course of the season or so. And so yeah, it's anything I might need them for. I like to just have them around. They're kind of nice. So anyways, that's why we do our sunflowers. And then I've got sweet corn that'll be going in today too. So it is going to be, a jam-packed day full of putting seeds into the ground. It's gonna be all right. All right. Let me go grab one thing here I forgot in the greenhouse. BRB. Where is it at? That's a good question. Where'd it go? Yeah. Appreciate y'all hanging out today. It's good stuff across the board. Where did that go? It's an interesting question. Where it went to? Sure, it'll turn up. Where I put it? Well, like most things in my garden, I'll remember where I put it later. Oh wait, it's over here. Let's see. Yep, there it is. Sorry about that, folks. Let me just grab something real quick. Wife was kind enough to get this for me. Want to make sure I keep it out, Let's see, right about here. Yeah, I'll hold on to that just fine. All right, looks like it's gonna stay. Cool. All right, so let's get into this today. So we're gonna start back here. And again, when it comes to doing the sunflowers that we're going to be doing today. Same thing with the corn. They kind of got the same, separation distance you want. They all want to be about, a foot apart from each other. That's really about it. So I have, again, old, these are also cured bamboo stalks, or not bamboo, sunflower stalks that I have here. These are from the sunburst ones that we're doing in our second row. Just got some rope here so I can make sure my lanes are staying nice and straight. Do your best on this. So I'm just going to kind of measure off a foot here, a foot away from the, there we go. I'm just going to run this line down, do the same thing on this end. And yeah, we're looking for, close enough ballpark here, folks. We definitely not stressing out if I'm end up being at 14 inches or something. That's not going to ruin things. Or if I get at 10 inches. Spacing is a suggestion. The plants will figure it out. That's one thing you don't have to worry about. You don't want them cramped, obviously, for reasons. Want to do our best and be successful, but we're also not going to be breaking out the ruler here. I use a boot. I use basically one length of boot. That's kind of where I go. Right about there. Cool. All right. All right, so next up is basically I've got and you'll see I have my wood chips down. I've been getting those out for the last couple days. Got this right here. Last couple days on them. Been getting those set up. So now we are just going to go through and make my marks. And it's just kind of a tedious process, especially with the wood chips, but it is what it is. And it's just for me, it's more important for me to quickly kind of get the soil covered than it is to get everything and then try to work around it. It's easier just to spread it out and then come out on the back end of this, So it's basically just going to kind of make every few feet or so. I'm just going to make a little divot. That's about all we're going to do. I'll come in and clean it up here when I go to put the seeds in, but for now, this is all I'm looking to do. But yeah, it's good. Great day today. We got some breeze today versus yesterday. Yesterday was a, no wind, just a hot, muggy Midwestern day. Almost like you'd expect to be in, late June temperatures more than, late May. So like I said, we're definitely ahead of definitely ahead this year, which is fine. Like I said, more time for me to get stuff in the garden. You know what I mean? Like that's the important piece. But anyways, again, the process here is pretty straightforward. I think anybody's ever been in the garden before, you just kind of get your measurements out and kind of do them here. Got this straw that's kind of in the way here. Look at this big old chunk of stuff. This is going to find a home away from the garden. There we go. All right. Just throw that straw out there, kind of mix her up. There we go. But again, anybody that's ever set up the garden before like this, they just know this is just kind of the drill. You gotta, to do things right, you set it up. You gotta take your time for the initial setup and prep. It's gonna save you work, throughout the rest of the year. There's one thing I don't, gardening is work. There's no lie about that. It's definitely effort, but I don't want it to be anything we're going to be overly stressing about either. All right. Just kind of got in the way there. Sorry about that. I'm all up in your faces, folks, here. Sorry about that. Okay. So anyways, we got our first kind of section done here. And when it comes to these, these in particular, these gray mammoth sunflower seeds, gray striped mammoth, they like to be about 1 inch down. So, this is one of my older bamboos there. Obviously, it isn't going to hold up. We will keep on rolling here. I want to get this string out of my face. It's already bothering me today. Okay. But yeah, so again, just take your time and especially on the prep. You know, that's one thing where I see people, they want to hustle through these things, just kind of get them done. And you definitely do not want to be going too fast when it comes to, but there we go. That didn't get smoothed out correctly when we did everything. But you want to make sure you're taking your time when you're doing your prep, okay? Super important that you are taking your time. Because if you hustle through this stuff, this area in particular, your preparation, your late season, your mid-season life is going to be, you're going to be extremely, not fun. And then by extremely not fun, I mean weeds are going to, if you don't do your proper prep for weed control at the beginning of the season, if you don't, if your spacing isn't right, you're going to have to be in here basically pruning your, over pruning, but also you're going to have, especially when it comes to these sunflowers, they are voracious. I mean that voracious, the word I want to use, feeders. They come through and they will deplete the soil on you. Like I said, I had a cover crop this year to be able to help return some soil or some nutrients back into the soil. Had an issue with that, which we talked about yesterday on the stream, but TLDR, at some point from when I put my cover crop into the ground last year until basically this week, a whole bunch of crabgrass decided to take root and join the party. So I had to go through and till my garden. Not what I like to do. I had to till it, and then I pulled out. I'm on to bucket number 12 of 5-gallon bucket of crabgrass rhizome that I had to pull out of the garden itself, actually out of the soil, just buckets and buckets full. And again, that's the thing with crabgrass, it's a rhizome. So if you do not, you can poison it, which again, in my parts of my yard I do, just because of where it's at. Again, that's just basically the best known method to be able to control them. But in the garden, I ain't putting that stuff in my garden. So that means gotta do it all by hand. All right, so again, what we have here, these are gray stripe mammoth sunflower seeds we're doing. And I typically put, I've got plenty here, but I like to make sure I get a few in there, because it's not that there's a viability issue that I'm not really concerned about. That's not on the list, but I want the ones that are going to be starting off quick and fast. I want to see that fast growth. That's that's what I want to be as far as the next generation that I want to make it. So I'll put a couple in, and I'm going to be thinning out the slow ones, just because where we're at in Michigan, we get a boatload of, our weed pressure up here, it goes from 0 to 1,000. So I need stuff that gets started quick. So this is going to be year 2 with this generation, and I'll just keep on doing that going forward. And also, again, I also raise these sunflowers for my birds too. They get sunflower seeds during the winter. And I save the full heads and everything. Basically I'll save the full heads, I'll trim them off, but then I'll also pull some out, dehydrate them. Oh, he remembered us. And the way that I do it, as far as saving the, saving the seeds for saving the heads, really I just lop them off and then put them in the garage with fans blowing on them for about a week. Usually what it takes, about a week. Just turning them, moving them around a little bit, and they tend to clear out. So that's what we do there. Actually, I can bring that out here, kind of show you guys. I think it might be worthwhile to show you. So as I was saying, I harvest my sunflowers for a couple things, but you can see here, this is the large mammoth head, kind of how they dry out. They'll come in here and looks pretty good. And then these are the heads from the smaller sunflower, the sunburst. They produce a ton of seeds, like so many, and the birds love them. That's really the reason they want them. But again, getting these out of here, pretty straightforward. They just peel right off. Peel right off, and you get a nice little handful of them. It's great. But like I said, the birds are going to be getting some here after these germinate. We'll donate the rest of those seeds to the cause. Pause for my birds there. All right, so now it's really just going to be covering these back up and starting on our next row. Let's see. I remember I did this last year in the garden here because it was definitely it wasn't like 100% certain how things were going to grow in the garden, just because first year on the property, with the garden going last year, so there were questions, as there should be, right? Starting off with something, and did pretty well though. Like I said, all my neighbors, I had lots of people commenting on the sunflowers and just overall how the garden looked. So that was nice. So but I do like the sunflowers are useful. That's why I want to make sure that as far as for garden support stuff, rather than having to pay for bamboo, nothing at this point, because they work really, really well. Like I've got them for supports for my peas right now on the far side of the garden over there. I actually have them set up as let's say I could probably leave you guys right there. I think I will just leave you there. Like maybe we're gonna move you just over this way. We'll trade you out right here. Just kind of move you over like that. There we go. But they work really great. It's again for supports as well, which I love. That works out so good for them. Again, just because, and if I don't have to spend the money on stuff, I'd rather not. End of the day, gardening's a hobby. You don't really get into gardening to save all that much money. You do, I mean, you're wrong, but it takes over time, over time. So especially, when you talk about the amount of canning supplies that you have to buy and everything else, where a lot of folks that want to get into it. It's like with raising chickens. Chickens are going to take you, a couple seasons to recoup your expenditures. That's just the way that goes. All right, so same process over again, because I'm going to do, let me just make sure we're at here. This way just a little bit. There we go. It doesn't really matter all that much. Like I said, it's just want to make sure my spacing is as close as I can get it to what's healthier. And again, I'm just doing 1 foot spacings, and this time I'm just matching up with what I've got over here in front of me with the ones I did earlier. But so yeah, just doing these sunflowers today. But anyway, we're talking about recouping when it comes to recouping, like how I did that with chickens. Recouping the cost of your investment. When it comes to things like that, there is, it does take a while, but you eventually get there. Some, it's the same principle like I have with my solar panels on my house. Initial investment, I'm not going to see a return on that. I'll see it in cash flow, but my return and to recoup it, it's going to be a few years. It's 7 years to recoup everything. And that's just at current prices. If what happens with electricity, which I'm fairly certain is going to happen with electricity, happens, that recoupament's going to move up by about a year or so. My neighbor, I don't know if you can hear them or not. They are the motorcycle. It's where folks meet up to go for their Saturday and Sunday rides. It's my neighbor's house. I think they have a bigger ride group today, and folks are showing up late to the game, which is what's happening now. Someone's going to, but it's a nonstop on Sundays this time of year with motorcycles just zipping around. We also had the blessing of the bikes in Baldwin, Michigan this year, which is just next county over. Huge event. All the motorcycle folks are out, doing their thing. They're all up to, meet with each other and ride this time of year. But they're also, so we have an excess of motorcycles around the area, which again isn't the worst thing on the planet. I've only ever had good experiences with motorcycle folks. Mostly just out there to ride, get some wind in their hair, and have a good time. And my neighbor, she's super cool. I like her a lot. She's good. All right. Okay, we got this guy. So again, you're looking for about 1 inch. Ooh, this one's done. Okay. Put these guys back on too. It's about we're looking at about 1 inch down, just on everything. Again, for these sunflowers and stuff. So, hey Dawson's, what's happening? Welcome to the stream. Yeah, so as you can see on the header there, we're just doing sunflowers today. Nothing crazy, but and these sunflowers, like I said, if anything, with my neighborhood where I moved in here too, it brings a little bit of sunshine in here. That's the other spot. There's, obviously sunflowers, it's in the name, but it does make people happy when they come by and see these sunflowers. I have a lot more people driving by when these are up and when my garden's going, I have a lot more people coming by my property, just driving by slowly to check it out. And in my area, I'm in a pretty depressed area of Michigan where any bit of sunshine we can add, I think, is a good thing. So again, these are just the wood chips. As you can see here, I've got everything kind of spread out. Basically, just got this down today. Took care of the other part of the garden the last couple days. We got some stuff planted yesterday on stream, which is great. So we're just kind of going about our business here on this end. And it takes a few days for these to pop up. I've already tested viability of the seeds when it comes to these sunflowers, these gray stripe. I have actually have a mammoth growing right there, which is cool. All right, you guys are splitting on me. I think we're at the end of this one. Now let's say my family farm on the other side of town, Uncle John, he plants tons, basically an entire field of sunflowers every year. They harvest them and he sells them off, but the sunflowers that he does, which is pretty cool, they have photographers that come through and pay him to be able to use the field, because for senior photos and other photos that people want to have done as well. So that's and it's funny because he got into that by mistake. It was a misshipment of seeds that he got. He was supposed to get something else and he got sunflowers instead. So we're just gonna make our way all the way down here to here. Let's see. All right, so we are getting these gray mammoth now. Again, this is next row is going to be gray mammoth. I think I'm going to do. So again, these are the seeds we're putting in. You just want to see what they look like. They're gray stripe mammoth. You can kind of see where they get their name, right? Got that gray stripe. Nothing too crazy here. And like I said, I already tested viability on these. I got a couple that are growing. That's a good news story. Really, to get these in, I get my corn in. And it's just a matter of finishing up the last of my last of the mulch in the garden. get a few more things in the ground. Then I gotta take care of some painting for my wife. I just got a bedroom I gotta paint. She's been patient with me, knowing that this has to get done this time of year. It's just is what it is. So appreciate my wife being patient. Well, I'm just waiting on this, waiting for me to get this stuff done. So, but yeah, good news story across the board is that we're, you know, we are in my garden. I'm a full with my greenhouse. I'm a full almost six to 8 weeks ahead of where I was last year. So that for me, that makes all the difference right there. You know, when I was looking for picking up the greenhouse, that was the idea. Is I wanted to obviously extend my growing season, right? That's the idea. Well, I moved my growing up pretty substantially to the point where I've already got tomatoes fruiting in May in Michigan. It doesn't happen very up in northern Michigan, which doesn't happen often. So ever roughly, if you just basically sow in from seed, or even, you know, even if I just had a couple starters going. So they've been going crazy in there, which is awesome. They're getting nice and big. I just cover these guys back up. We're just going to move on to our next set of them here. Cool. Right. Yep, so again, these are gray striped mammoth that I'm putting in here. I'm going to do 2 rows of this, and then so this is my last row of these. Of course, you know, I've got way too many seeds for it, which is fine. Like I said, the birds are going to be loving these, you know, chomping down on these things. That's the idea there. And then we're going to start on our starburst, or sunburst, excuse me, sunflowers, which of the flower types of the sunflowers I do are right now are my favorite. We'll see how these Mexican sunflowers turn out. I have a feeling that I'm gonna like them, you know, equally as well. We'll see. Okay, so there's that. Get a little water here. So yeah, we just got my 2 rows of gray striped mammoth sunflowers in right now, and getting ready to start on 2 rows. 1, 2. What do I want to do? 3. I'm going to do 3 rows of the sunburst. Yeah, we'll do 2 rows of grays. Yeah. So this is going to be again, they're called sunburst sunflowers, and they end up being pretty large. They kick up these tiny little itty bitty seeds though, which my goldfinches absolutely love. They come in. They basically own this section of the north part of my garden during the summer. Once they start, the heads start coming out, they start blooming. Oof. Okay, so we're there. Maybe right there. Okay. I know that didn't make that big of a difference, but I just wanted to make sure I started off. So again, I'm following the idea that there is about a they like to have about a foot all the way around when it comes to sunflowers. So that's what I typically do when I come in here. So with this, I've got my my mulch already down. So I throw my mulch down first. This stuff out of here. I got some of my winter rye living its best life. So I get the basically get my mulch down first, which this is all just natural wood, wood fibers, wood chips from the nursery up the road. And I trust them. They're from a reputable, that's the word. They get their stuff from a reputable place that I don't have to worry about any weird chemicals and stuff showing up in showing up in here. I know I'm going to have a decent, healthy, safe wood mulch for, you know, my plants to get in. Because ultimately, well, yes, I'm not going to be eating the sunflowers here. These are for the birds and for structure. I use it for construction stuff around the garden. The following year, the rest of my garden has wood, you know, has wood chips on top of it. So I obviously want to make sure that that's good. You know, for the same reason, because we'll be eating that. I'm saying those tomatoes that are basically getting ready, I've already fruited, getting ready to pop off some tomatoes for me. That out of there. So yeah, well, what we got today, you know, hopefully everybody's having a good day today. This is some of the more fun stuff to be able to do. Just come in and take care of the garden this way. Ultimately, I think when we all get into gardening, this is the type of stuff that we just, you know, the science part of it and the, you know, getting stuff, you know, the early work stuff, i.e. getting all your seedlings started and all those things are obviously really important and are fun. They're interesting in their own way, but I've always just found this aspect of, you know, getting my hands in the dirt, like this is the most rewarding part of it, the most I don't know if you want to say peaceful or whatever you want to say, but I've always just liked this part of it. Yeah, it just does. I want to say it fills the bucket, but I think that's the best way to put it. It really does for me. Okay, so that guy's got, good Lord, get out of here, guys. Okay, cool. All right. Now, need another poker here. That ain't gonna work. This guy should work pretty well. And again, you just simply want to have these, you know, these seeds are really no different than the gray stripes. They like to, you know, be about a ½ inch to an inch down. That's really all I try to do with them. You know, they're not the largest seeds by any stretch of the imagination. So you want to try to make it easy for them to germinate. So what I'm doing here is I had a spot there. The soil was a little bit more rough than I care to have them be in. So we're loosening it up for them. That way I can just drop them in and they'll be good. Again, because one of the things you got to remember here is we don't want the sunflowers exerting a lot of energy on roots. We want them spending all that energy that they make growing up, getting big. The thing with sunflowers also, you know, that's one of the reasons why you just also have your sunflowers kind of separated from everything else. Sunflowers, they naturally kind of do their own little weed suppression and other plant suppression. And they don't bother corn. Corn does its own thing. But when it comes to, like say any other type of plant, sunflowers tend to not play well. They have an enzyme in there that they exude out of their root system to keep other plants away. But there's some that play well. You know the three sisters. We got peas and, you know, that grow in with them. But, and you know, your squash and peas all together, they play nice because certain squashes, they don't play nice with other people too. So peas, they don't care. They just want somebody to grow on. They just need somebody strong to grow with. All right. The last couple here I got to do. Okay. Now we're on to our next set of sunflowers here. Like I said, these are Sunburst. Mix them all in together. There we go. Just one thing to count on is that, you know, your sunflowers. And again, this is what they kind of look like. And these are saved from last year. I already saved all these seeds out. And like I said, I've tested them all. They're all viable. It's a viable bunch here. I mean, they're definitely not going to have any issues, but just to make sure I have some good germination, I'm not missing any spots. We're definitely going to give them plenty of seeds here because I got plenty to go around. Yeah, the gentleman that when we first moved back here to Michigan, we had a house across town. This guy I've known in the family for like ever and a day. I mean, he's a family friend for forever. And we rented his place. And part of the deal with renting is that he gives a really, really inexpensive rate for staying with him. It was really inexpensive. But I was gonna say, part of that though was he needed my help, you know, with tasks around the property and everything. So that's what I was doing. And with that, he also just said, hey, take what, you know, he's since passed away. He's definitely, you know, he's in his 90s. And I'd worked with him when I was younger. He let me know just to, you know, basically I could take whatever I wanted out of his stuff. He didn't care. So I grabbed a few, you know, I always let him know what I was taking and kind of explained why. But I grabbed, you know, I grabbed his old dehydrator that he had, which is great. And I just use that for seeds, for flowers, and you know, seeds again for my flowers, and then also obviously for the vegetables and the, you know, the plants here in the garden. So I can basically save as many seeds as I get my own seeds, which I will be saving all sorts of them this year. You know, now that I've basically validated viability on tomatoes and cucumbers and different stock there, and the squash, we're going to be going all in on basically capturing and saving our own seeds this year. All right, so that is row number 3 for the sunburst, or first one for the sunburst. It's 3 rows of sunflowers. I've got 2 more. Make sure here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So I've got, I might do 5 rows of, we'll see with the corn. I'm going to do, get our next set down here. And again, I'm basically just, my measurements are in here. The sunflowers, they like about 1 foot all the way around. But what I do typically is, in my garden, 1 boot is a measurement for me. It's just kind of how I go. I just say, here is one boot. Is how I just kind of measure them off to make sure that I'm in line. Everything is lined up appropriately. And again, these sunflowers, you know, they're not that particular about space, you know, especially when they're with their own kind. You know, they just kind of, they make it work. So that's kind of what we're going to be doing here, is loading this guy up here with sunflowers this year. And my not just my neighbors, but the birds absolutely love when I put these sunburst sunflowers in, just because there's, I mean, each one will put out 12, 15, 18 different heads throughout the season. So for the whole year, they just keep making more. So they say my goldfinches that live here, they just kind of live their best life, knowing all too well that you know, they can just come here and hide basically for the summer. There's no birds of prey that are going to be coming after them. They know that they can just hang out here. They just have to deal with the sprinkler coming on every now and again, you know, which I'll be doing that here. So again, with this being a fresh, you know, my first planting on this side, and after I get the rest of the wood chips down here, this whole area is going to get basically for a couple days, I'm just going to be watering the bejesus out of it. This had that's simply just to re-encourage, because I did have this uncovered for a couple days to help kill off all those weeds that decided to show up. The crabgrass. And again, crabgrass is one of the things you got to kill the rhizomes. But anyways, to re-encourage the bacteria to repopulate the soil, because they all basically get killed off when you till the soil, at least in that first couple inches. We don't want that. We want to make sure that they know they're more than welcome to come back. Hey, bee friend, you want to go to this other? Go behind me. The flowers are behind me, dude. There you go. All right, there's that. Cool. So, get this next one in. This is gonna be, yeah, so we're gonna do 3 rows of these sunburst. I think is gonna be awesome. And my opinion matters on this because it's my garden. Just get you out of there. Again, we're just doing like a little inch, half an inch to an inch. Nothing too crazy. Just trying to, just enough so I can get them in there. These seeds have, and again, these sunburst ones, once they get their roots set, they get to work, they take off quick, like really fast. It's pretty impressive, to be honest, how quickly they get going. The mammoth, they take them a little bit longer to kind of get there, but they're only producing like that one, that one large, obviously mammoth bloom that they have, that gray stripe sunflowers. But when it comes to the others, these, again, I say these sunburst, I'll have some sunflowers within 60 days, basically coming into July into August. I'll start having them, and then they just keep growing and producing and growing, producing. And some of the flowers they kick out there, there's really pretty auburn, like auburn. I think that's the only way to describe it. Color, where it's like a gradient on the flowers. They're just so pretty. Yeah, another reasons why, and the pollinators love it. I mean, it's between the, between the bees and the goldfinches, a lot of activity going on in the sunflower patch. We'll tell you that much. Non-stop. Okay, again, so you guys can see here is what the seeds look like. You guys can see that or not there. Here you go. And it's a mixture of seeds and chaff in here, just because I could separate them out further, but it don't matter. No, we're just going to get some seeds in there and we'll be good. They're going to do what seeds do. Especially once I get a little more soil on them. Let's get some water in them. Yeah, the other parts of my garden where I didn't necessarily have the crabgrass issue, and I could keep it covered. Obviously the moisture levels are markedly higher. But is what it is. We don't worry about it. We'll just adapt. People have been doing this type of stuff for a long time, making it work, Okay. Go ahead and cover this back up. Then we'll get on to our final bit here, which will be after this. We got rows of corn to do. And it's nice, basically between now and the corn and the sunflowers, they come up pretty quick. They're pretty fast as far as germinating, so no real worries there. Hey, seeds in there. You guys covered up. And then, you know, the way I have this too, also, if you look at it, you see, because where I'm digging down into it, once everybody germinates and they get to a certain height, I'm going to be coming back through and covering everybody up with mulch for weed control. Do what I can to help. You know, they can take care of themselves. They're not, that's one thing with sunflowers and corn. They're good about doing that themselves. I just want to be able to help out where I can. Less worries about, I'll put this guy right next to the post, I think. There. So this is actually where it was. I'll drop this guy right here. Okay. All right, square it off right there. Okay, so there we go. I'll grab a little bit more water here. Gotta stay hydrated this time of year for sure, going into the rest of the summer. All right. So again, we're doing the same thing here again. If you haven't been on the stream before, welcome. Good to have you on here. Name's Ryan. Just a dude works in his garden, hops on YouTube Live, kind of share what he's doing. Just talk with folks, see how they're doing. And today we are doing, I'm finishing up my last row of sunflowers currently. And then after that, we've got 4 rows of corn. Yeah, 1, 2, yeah, 4 rows of corn that I need to do. Let me make sure here. So this is going to be, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4. I might be able to get 5 rows of corn in this year. Yeah. So anyways, we're gonna do some rows of corn coming up next. And corn, as we get into that, unlike sunflowers, corn is a plant that you need to make sure when you're growing it, it has to be grown in blocks. It has to be done in a, basically in a block. You can't have it where you just got like 1 row of corn. That isn't going to work for you. It's going to be a terrible germination rate. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's just not going to work as far as your pollination rate. Excuse me. It's just not going to work. You're going to end up with kind of yuck looking corn. Don't want to have that. So, oops, over here a little bit. You guys kind of see what I'm doing. Maybe. Yeah, I'll have to move that again. All I did was move you further out of the shot. That's too funny. Okay. So anyways, I'm just down here right now. Okay. So anyways, you want to make sure you have them in blocks. It's really important that they have them, at least a few rows wide and a few rows deep, because of the way that the wind's blowing, you got to make sure that they're going to be, any of the pollen is going to be able to get onto the other strand, onto the tassels of the corn next to it. That's just the way it works with corn. It's meant to be grown. It is we man-made the thing basically, and it was designed to be grown in rows. So you kind of got to treat it as a row crop, by the way. It can't grow any other way. Okay. So last of our sunflowers here. And we're going to find out just how well these guys grow this year. Again, I know the seeds are viable. I've already checked them. There's a good germination percentage just on the test ones. All that being said, it's always a little bit different when you're outside of the greenhouse doing these. So we're just going to be take our time and make sure that we give these sunflowers best chance they have to make it. There we go. Again, I'm just going down a little bit over an inch, half an inch to an inch, I should say. Not trying to make it to China with these. What is nice about them, they do come up quick though. That is a nice little piece that they do have. I hope everybody's having a good day today. Today's definitely one of those days though. It's like, kind of glad when today's over. I mean, I love this part of it, but again, planting corn and sunflowers, you know, they take up such a big chunk of the garden. There's a lot of prep work that goes into it. But once this is done, you know, I can kind of forget about this side of the garden, which is nice. I can, these are mostly just set and forget. You know, they tend to take care of themselves very well. So this means that way I can focus on my more finicky vegetables in the garden. And I'll let you guys decide which ones those are. But ones that always take a little bit more maintenance. And I don't want this to be seen as a distraction. However, you know, the couple hours it takes to do this on top of the wood mulch and everything, it clears up the rest of my schedule, so that's nice. So anyways, today man, what a great day out today though. It's gorgeous, sun shining. Getting my hands in some dirt here. And kind of working my way through here. Make sure these guys are going to be successful as possible. Then, because we're on next, is going to be our corn. I'll show you my corn. That corn I saved from last year from, this is my sweet corn that I saved from one of basically plants that I had. So this is basically a quick corn, sweet corn that comes out. It's like 60 days, I want to say, where it's going to be producing. And these are all saved from last year, just from corn, basically corn that I have. I let it just completely mature on the plant itself. I only took it off when we took the stalks down for the autumn decoration around the house, and then hung them up to let them dry a little bit, then put them in the dehydrator to finish them off. So yeah, so we are next up on all these. All right, let me make my birds' day and give them a whole bunch of sunflower seeds right now. They're going to be ecstatic. There you go. A few handfuls for them, and they're living their best life right now. Yeah, I'll be able to start. Probably need to straighten that out just a little bit. There we go. All right, so we're getting ready to get started on the corn now, folks. Welcome to everybody on the stream. Yes, it's a good day today. So we got sunflowers in over here, and start on corn now. This sweet corn that I have is, it's the good stuff. I'll say it that way. Yep. Yeah, so again, with this, and again, I treat this just the same way that I did with the sunflowers. They're going to go in basically a foot all the way around. It's just what they enjoy. So it's really easy doing the markings, really easy just kind of setting it up and just using the same rope marker that I had before. We're just going to start down the line here. Make your way down the line. Okay. Again, I'm just using the same marker. Again, it's a foot off, basically one boot is the way I measure stuff off. Just kind of kicking my mulch out of the way. Make little spots here. And they will be uncovered, at least on the mulch side of it, until they're of a decent enough size where they've germinated and they're grown out enough to where I can put all the rest of the mulch back around them, just to help with weed, help with moisture for sure. That's the biggest piece. But we start them off with clearing out this mulch. Well, thick right there. Well, thick boy. There you go. Send that out some. Again, it's just a tried and true method I've done for a while. Just kind of going this way and just taking my time, making sure I've got spacings correct-ish, but also it lets me keep an eye on exactly where everything's kind of germinating at. The other thing, another reason why I do this too, for folks that want to get into gardening, so they can kind of get a real time idea of how long it takes to actually do all your gardening. Get it prepped and the amount of work that goes into it, because gardening is not a low effort hobby. It's work. So I like people just to be able to see that, All right, so again, on these, just like we had on get out of there. Just like we had with the sunflowers, we're gonna go down about 1 inch on these seeds, basically get them in there. Just about 1 inch. That's simply just to make sure that we have, well, again, that's how far they need to be. Long story short, that's just how deep they got to go. There's nothing more to it than that. Get that out of there. You were just being a pain today. Get out of there, you guys. Get gone, you. Be gone. Troublesome. But you are. So you will have those instances where this stuff does not necessarily want to play along well in your soil, so make it easier. Again, we want germination to be as easy as possible for the roots going down and those first leaves coming up. You don't want that fresh plant, expending any energy it doesn't need to. All that energy just needs to be focused going on that initial growth and getting the root system set up. So, as a reminder, these are the seeds that I got from last year from my corn plants, and I just let them go all the way through till the stalks basically were time to come down for the Halloween or for the autumn decorations. Excuse me. And that was, and then brought them inside, took them off, hung them up to dry, and that's really where we're at. And then hung them up to dry, and then I finished them off in the dehydrator. Excuse me, that I had. And I've got more than enough here to get me going this year. We're making sure I got plenty in here. I'm not too worried about whether these are going to germinate or not. They're viable seeds. That being said, I'm still following the golden rule with corn. Make sure you got 2 seeds in each hole, because even the ones that are viable, sometimes, man, they still, we created this plant, we bioengineered this thing, and it is a fickle plant. And for whatever reason, sometimes one of them just doesn't want to go. They don't want to go. So I always put 2 in every single hole, every spot. Just make it a little bit easier. If we have one that decides it doesn't want to go, I got backups. And if 2 come up, that's fine. Once they're up to a certain size, I just trim one off. Usually within the first month, you know which one's going to be the more viable of the 2. You just trim them off from there. All right, so here basically just going through and covering everybody up. And I'm going to come through just at the beginning here, add some, put some water on them, but after that I'm going to run the sprinklers tonight too. Get some more water here. All right, so got our first row of corn in. Working on our second one. Again, welcome to the stream, everybody. Good to have everybody on here today. Good to see y'all. It's Sunday, so we're just kind of taking our time and doing things the way we want to do them. Oh, I don't know where that goes. Man, that's not good. That guy died on me. All right, guess we'll just lay it. There we go. Right there. Kind of just clearing my space. Clearing a pocket for it. In corn, it definitely likes its space. Again, I usually just put a foot between everything. Hey, pretty. What's going on? What's that? Oh, okay. So, again, just putting my solid line here, just kind of keeping this here so we can keep the spacing where it needs to be. With the corn, this is definitely a block planting. It's meant to be in rows, but it's meant to be in blocks. You can't just do one row of corn. You got to do multiples. Otherwise, you're going to have a really poor pollination rate. Not the way it works. That's something, that's our fault. We're the ones that made this plant. So we're stuck with now, but it is what it is. Okay, there's that. Okay. And this area here is just a little bit, some of my trickier parts of my garden, since I'm just having to focus here a little bit. By trickier, I mean, it's not, the soil composition changes a little bit. As I move this direction, I get into more clay and stuff like that. It's a little bit more annoying. I'm slowly working on it. As I find the clay pieces, I'm getting rid of them. But that takes time. not going to tear up my whole garden just to reduce those like that. All right. Cool. All right. So now, just on to our next bit here. Whew. Toasty up in here. Oh, I don't want that rhizome. Come here, buddy. More crabgrass rhizome. And when I turned over my garden here this week, which I wasn't happy about, but I had to get done, just boatloads, because I had a whole bunch of crabgrass move in when I didn't realize it. And so I've just been in correction mode, fixing it. All right. Was that piece? Another one there. Gonna take a second. A chunk of crabgrass here. All right, cool. Oh, now one more piece. Okay, that's good. Good news story. Got that piece before. Had a chance to really get back in there. So, it's all right. Toss it out there. That's where I want that at. Back to where we were. So yeah, again, I typically provide a lot of commentary. It's just when I get these points where, like, my brain's got to activate a little bit more. I don't talk as much, so I apologize. You know, you guys come on here, you want to be able to at least hear a little bit what I'm thinking. Right now, what I'm thinking is, I really hate this side of my garden with all this. There we go. Just trying to make this work for me. Getting the difference between the soil. Oh, hey, what's happening? Yeah, so. Yeah, come on in.